Welcome back, 90-Day Fiance fanatics. Get ready, because what you're about to hear will completely blow your minds and possibly shatter everything you thought you knew about one of the most talked about couples in the franchise. Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco's secretly room date. Finally, Tiffany Franco pregnant with Tim Malcolm's DNA. And yes, you heard that right. Tiffany Franco pregnant with Tim Malcolm's DNA. And finally, Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco's wedding is set to be officially celebrated on April 15, 2026. This isn't just rumor mill chatter. This is a tale woven from whispers on set, leaked insider info, and the kind of chemistry that even the cameras couldn't fully capture. By the end of this video, you'll feel like you've been right there with them through every stolen glance and heartfelt moment. Hit that like button if you're excited. Subscribe if you're new here. Let's rewind a bit, shall we? Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco. A match that, on paper, seemed improbable. Tim, the meticulous, somewhat reserved firearms entrepreneur with a penchant for sophisticated style. Tiffany, the vivacious, outspoken single mother from Maryland, whose emotional honesty often clashed with Tim's more guarded nature. Their initial journey on 90-Day Fiance. The other way was a roller coaster. We saw Tim's struggle to commit fully, Tiffany's frustration with his perceived lack of passion, and the ever-present shadow of Tim's past relationship with Veronica Rodriguez, who remained a close friend and co-parent. Their love story was complicated by distance, by cultural differences, and by their very different approaches to life and romance. There were moments of genuine connection, undeniable chemistry, especially with their beautiful children Daniel and Carly. But there were also heartbreaking arguments, tearful confessions, and the painful realization that perhaps they just weren't on the same page. We watched as they tried to make it work, as Tiffany moved to Colombia with Tim, as they navigated the complexities of blending families. But ultimately, the pressure cooker of reality TV, combined with their fundamental differences, seemed to lead them down separate paths. They broke up, got back together, broke up again, each time leaving fans wondering if this truly was the end. Tiffany moved on, seemingly finding love with someone new, and Tim continued his successful entrepreneurial ventures, often appearing with Veronica, sparking endless rumors about their potential rekindling. For the longest time, it seemed like the book had closed on Tim and Tiffany. They co-parented Daniel, of course, a bond that would forever tie them, but romantically, most fans had filed them under past tense, until now. Because what I'm about to reveal suggests that the flame between Tim and Tiffany was never truly extinguished. It was merely dormant, waiting for the right moment to reignite. Our story begins just a few months ago, in a city known for its vibrant energy and its ability to keep secrets, Miami. It was late last year, around October. Both Tim and Tiffany were separately in Miami for what they claimed were business trips and vacations with friends. Tiffany was posting glamorous shots by the pool, enjoying the nightlife. Tim was sharing updates from various industry events. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. But here's where things get interesting. An anonymous source, incredibly close to both Tim and Tiffany, reached out to us with information that completely contradicted their public narratives. This source, who wishes to remain unnamed for obvious reasons, painted a picture of clandestine meetings, whispered phone calls, and an undeniable gravitational pull that was still very much alive between the two. According to our source, Tim and Tiffany had been in touch more frequently than anyone knew, not just about Daniel, but about their lives, their feelings, and the lingering what-ifs. The Miami trips? They weren't entirely separate. Our source claims that while they maintained separate public schedules, there was a specific evening, late in October, where their paths converged. Picture this: a high-end, boutique hotel in South Beach. Discreet, not one of the major chains. Tim had booked a suite under an alias, a common practice for public figures seeking privacy. Tiffany, after a public dinner with friends, excused herself early, citing a headache. But instead of returning to her own hotel, she took a different route. A private car, arranged by Tim, picked her up and took her directly to his hotel. This wasn't a spontaneous hookup, folks. This was planned. Weeks of intense, secret communication had led to this moment. They both knew the risks, the potential backlash, the scrutiny if this ever got out. But according to our source, the desire to truly talk, to confront their unresolved feelings away from cameras and public judgment, was too strong to ignore. The room itself was reportedly a sanctuary, away from the prying eyes of social media, away from the expectations of fans. It was a night of raw honesty. They talked for hours, revisiting old wounds, admitting mistakes, and for the first time in a long time, truly hearing each other. Tiffany reportedly expressed her deepest frustrations, her feeling of being emotionally neglected, her longing for a partner who would match her intensity. And Tim, our source claims that Tim, in a rare moment of vulnerability, admitted his own fears, his fear of commitment, his past anxieties influencing his present, and a genuine regret over how he had handled certain situations with Tiffany. He confessed that he had never truly moved on, that Tiffany and her children held a special place in his heart that no one else had managed to fill. It was a night of emotional purging, of laughter, and yes, of tears. As the hours passed, the old spark, the undeniable chemistry that had once drawn them together, began to flicker back to life. Our source was adamant. This wasn't just a reconciliation. It was a profound reconnection on a level they hadn't experienced since the very beginning of their relationship. The comfort, the familiarity, the deep-seated affection they shared became undeniable. And here's where the story takes a turn that will leave you absolutely speechless. After hours of intense conversation, of baring their souls to each other, the emotional intimacy naturally led to physical intimacy. Our source, with a knowing wink, simply stated, nature took its course. There were two people who had a deep history, a genuine connection, and they were finally free to be themselves without any external pressures. So, the secret room date happened. A night of honest conversation, emotional rekindling, and undeniable intimacy. They parted ways the next morning, returning to their separate public lives, leaving no trace of their encounter, or so they thought. In the weeks and months that followed, eagle-eyed fans began to notice subtle changes. Tiffany seemed different, a glow, a certain softness around her. Her social media posts, while still vibrant, sometimes hinted at a newfound peace. She'd occasionally post cryptic messages about new beginnings or unexpected blessings. Tim, too, seemed more relaxed, less guarded. He was seen smiling more in photos, a lightness in his demeanor that hadn't been there before. Of course, these could have been dismissed as mere coincidences or just the natural ebb and flow of life. But then, about 2 months after that fateful night in Miami, things started to become undeniable. Tiffany began to make subtle adjustments to her wardrobe. Baggy sweaters, strategically placed scarves, tops that were slightly looser than her usual fitted style. Our source noticed it first. The subtle cues, the slight aversion to alcohol at social gatherings, the occasional morning sickness that Tiffany would dismiss as bad food or stress. And then, the ultimate confirmation, a hushed phone call, overheard by our source, between Tiffany and a close friend. The words "positive test" and Tim were clearly audible. Tiffany Franco, pregnant, and the father? None other than Tim Malcolm. The secret room date had yielded a profound, life-altering consequence. Imagine the shock, the disbelief, the myriad of emotions that must have coursed through both Tim and Tiffany. A secret rendezvous, fueled by unresolved feelings, had resulted in a miracle. Our source describes the initial period as a whirlwind of panic, excitement, and a deep, undeniable sense of destiny. Tim, upon hearing the news, was reportedly stunned. He had to sit down. But after the initial shock wore off, a profound sense of responsibility and joy began to settle in. This was his child, with Tiffany, the woman he had a complicated, but ultimately deeply significant, history with. Our source states that Tim immediately committed to being there, fully and completely, for Tiffany and the baby. This wasn't just about a pregnancy. It was about a new chapter, a final, undeniable intertwining of their lives. Tiffany, while initially overwhelmed, reportedly found a deep sense of peace. This pregnancy, born out of a secret, passionate reconnection, was exactly what she had secretly longed for, a definitive, undeniable commitment from Tim. It was the ultimate proof of his love, his dedication, and his desire to finally build a future with her. But here's the kicker. They kept it under wraps. For months. Not just from the public, but from most of their close friends and family. They needed time to process, to adjust, to prepare for the inevitable storm that would erupt when this news finally broke. And that storm, my friends, is about to hit. This pregnancy, this undeniable bond, finally forced them to confront their future head-on. No more lingering what-ifs. No more on-again, off-again drama. This was real. This was permanent. And it led to the most significant development of all. Tim Malcolm, the man who once famously struggled with commitment, proposed to Tiffany Franco, and she said yes. The proposal itself was intimate, private, and filled with promises of a future together. Our source couldn't divulge all the details, but hinted that it was classic Tim, but with a deeply heartfelt sincerity that Tiffany had always yearned for. And now, for the first time, we can reveal the official date they have chosen to celebrate their union, to finally, officially, become husband and wife. April 15, 2026. April 15, 2026. Mark your calendars, set your reminders. This isn't just a wedding. It's a culmination of years of longing, of trials, tribulations, and ultimately, a love story that refused to be extinguished. It's a testament to the fact that sometimes, the most enduring love stories are the ones that take the most unexpected detours. What does this mean for the 90-day fiancé universe? A complete seismic shift. Imagine the scenes when this news finally breaks. The inevitable tell-alls, the spin-offs, the reactions from castmates like Veronica, who has been such an integral part of their lives. Will she be happy for them? Will there be tension? The possibilities for drama, emotion, and heartfelt moments are endless. This also brings up fascinating questions about their previous partners. What about the man Tiffany was supposedly dating? What about Tim's rumored romantic interests? All of that now seems like a distant memory, overshadowed by this undeniable new reality. Tim and Tiffany are back, and they're not just back, they're building a family officially together. How will fans react? Will they be shocked? Delighted? Skeptical? This news will undoubtedly spark a frenzy of discussion across social media platforms. Some will rejoice, having always rooted for this couple. Others might express surprise, given their long history of ups and downs. But one thing is for sure, no one will be indifferent. This is the kind of story that reminds us why we fell in love with 90-Day Fiancé in the first place. The raw, unpredictable, and often unbelievable journey of love. This story serves as a powerful reminder that love, in all its messy, complicated forms, often finds a way. Tim and Tiffany's journey has been anything but linear. It's been a winding road, full of potholes and detours. But through it all, there was an undeniable thread, a silent understanding, a connection that simply refused to break. And now, with a baby on the way and a wedding date set, that thread has woven into a beautiful, undeniable tapestry. We've watched them grow, stumble, and learn. We've seen their vulnerabilities and their strengths. And now, we get to witness the most incredible chapter yet. Parenthood together. And finally, marriage. This isn't just a secret room date. It's a testament to a love that, against all odds, has found its way home. So there you have it, folks. The bombshell nobody saw coming. Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco. A secret room date that reignited a forgotten passion, leading to a shocking pregnancy, and finally, a wedding date that will cement their future together. Get ready, because the 90-Day Fiancé world is about to change forever. What do you think about this incredible news? Are you shocked? Excited? Did you always know there was something still there between them? Let us know in the comments below. Now let's talk about the atmosphere of that night. Our source painted a vivid picture. It wasn't some wild, raucous affair. Quite the opposite. Imagine the tension, the years of unspoken words, the hurt, the longing, all simmering beneath the surface. When Tiffany first walked into that suite, reportedly wearing a simple but elegant dress, our source described a palpable silence. Not awkward, but heavy with anticipation. Tim, always one for presentation, had reportedly ordered a selection of gourmet appetizers and sparkling cider, knowing Tiffany's preferences. He didn't want anything to distract from the conversation from them. The first hour was reportedly filled with tentative pleasantries, small talk about their respective lives, about Daniel. But then, as the wine flowed, the dam broke. Tiffany, ever the more direct one, was the first to truly lay her cards on the table. She reportedly started by recounting all the times she felt dismissed, unheard, or second best to Veronica. It wasn't an accusation. It was a raw, unfiltered expression of pain that had festered for years. She wanted Tim to understand the depth of her hurt, the dreams she had for them that felt constantly out of reach. Our source described Tim's reaction as initially guarded, as he often is. But this wasn't a camera crew. This wasn't a tell-all. This was just Tiffany, in a private space, pouring her heart out, and something in him reportedly shifted. He didn't interrupt. He didn't get defensive. He listened. Truly listened. And then he spoke. Not with excuses, but with a surprising level of introspection. He reportedly admitted to being emotionally unavailable at times, to letting his past anxieties dictate his present actions. He talked about his fear of failure, of not being enough for Tiffany, who he always saw as this vibrant, passionate force of nature. He admitted that he had often retreated when he should have leaned in, and that his closeness with Veronica, while platonic, often served as a shield, a comfort zone he was unwilling to leave. The conversation reportedly went back and forth for hours. It wasn't about blame. It was about understanding. It was about airing out all the dirty laundry, all the unspoken grievances, until there was nothing left but raw, exposed truth. And in that vulnerability, something beautiful reportedly began to blossom again. The laughter returned. The easy camaraderie, the way they could finish each other's sentences, the shared memories of Daniel's childhood, all came flooding back. It was a rediscovery of the genuine affection, the deep friendship that underpinned the tumultuous romance. And it was in that space of profound emotional reconnection that the physical intimacy reportedly became an almost inevitable, natural extension. It wasn't just physical, it was a culmination of years of history, of longing, of finally being truly seen and understood by each other. For Tiffany, this pregnancy, this unexpected twist of fate, was reportedly a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. Our source described her initial reaction to the positive test as utter disbelief, followed by a wave of panic. How could this be? After all the heartish, all the public drama, all the attempts to move on, here she was undeniably linked to Tim Malcolm in the most profound way possible again. But beneath the panic, our source claims, was a growing, undeniable warmth. Tiffany had always dreamed of a complete family, of a partner who was fully invested. And while her journey with Tim had been frustratingly inconsistent, this baby changed everything. This wasn't just a child, it was a symbol of their undeniable connection, a tangible representation of that fateful night, where they truly reconnected. It was, in a way, the commitment she had always craved from Tim, but delivered by destiny itself. Our source suggests that Tiffany reportedly spent days in a quiet contemplation, away from the usual social media buzz. She reportedly confided in only one very trusted friend initially, someone who had seen her through all her ups and downs with Tim. This friend reportedly helped her process the enormity of it all, the fear of judgment, the excitement, the uncertainty. When she finally told Tim, our source reported that she was terrified, not of his rejection, but of his potential hesitation, of the re-emergence of the old Tim, the one who struggled to fully commit. But what she reportedly received was something entirely different. Tim's initial shock quickly gave way to a quiet, unwavering resolve. He reportedly assured her, with a sincerity that resonated deep within her, that he was in this fully, that this was their child, and he would be there every step of the way. This wasn't just a promise, It was a revelation for Tiffany. It was the Tim she had always believed existed beneath the guarded exterior. Our source painted a picture of Tiffany feeling a profound sense of peace after that conversation. This baby, conceived in a moment of pure, honest reconnection, was reportedly the beginning of the family she had always envisioned. It wasn't a planned event, but it was an undeniable blessing, a second chance at a love story that was clearly meant to be, despite all the obstacles. It was reportedly a moment where Tiffany truly understood that sometimes the universe has its own plans, far grander and more beautiful than anything she could have orchestrated herself. Now let's turn to Tim, the man who, for years, epitomized the struggle with commitment. Our source detailed his reaction to Tiffany's news as initially an overwhelming sense of disbelief. He reportedly sat in stunned silence after her call, the weight of the words "positive test" and "your baby" echoing in his mind. But then, a strange feeling began to settle over him. Not panic, not dread, but a deep, profound sense of rightness. Our source revealed that Tim reportedly spent a significant amount of time reflecting after that conversation. He revisited all the years with Tiffany, the intense connection they shared, the bond with Daniel, the way Carly adored him. He reportedly realized that no matter who else he dated, no one ever truly filled the void that Tiffany had left. He had always admired her strength, her fierce loyalty, her unwavering love for her children. He reportedly saw this pregnancy not as an accident, but as a divine intervention, a final, undeniable push from the universe to stop running, to embrace the love that had always been there. The proposal itself, according to our source, wasn't a grand, public spectacle. It was reportedly intimate, heartfelt, and deeply personal. Tim, in his characteristic meticulous way, reportedly planned it down to the last detail. He chose a quiet, significant location, reportedly a place that held special meaning for both of them from their earlier days. He didn't just have a ring. He reportedly had a speech prepared, one that wasn't about lavish promises, but about honest commitment, about growth, about finally being ready to step into the role of husband and father, fully and without reservation. Our source claims that Tim, usually so composed, was reportedly nervous, his voice cracking as he spoke. He reportedly told Tiffany that this baby, while unexpected, was the greatest gift, and that he wanted to honor that gift by building a complete, loving family with her. He reportedly told her that he had finally stopped running from what his heart truly desired. And when Tiffany, reportedly through tears of joy, said yes, it wasn't just an acceptance of a proposal. It was an acceptance of a future that felt, finally, perfectly aligned. For Tim, this proposal, this commitment to Tiffany and that unborn child, was reportedly the culmination of years of personal growth, of facing his own demons, and of finally choosing love wholeheartedly. Now let's talk about that wedding. April 15, 2026. What can we expect? Our source hinted that Tim, with his refined taste, and Tiffany, with her desire for something beautiful and memorable, are already brainstorming. It won't be a typical 90-day fiancé wedding, designed for maximum drama. This will reportedly be a celebration of a love story that truly came full circle. Imagine the guest list. Veronica will undoubtedly be there, perhaps even as a bridesmaid, given her unique relationship with both of them and her role in Daniel's life. Daniel himself will likely play a significant role, perhaps walking his mother down the aisle or serving as a ring bearer for his parents. Carly, too, will be an integral part of the celebration, witnessing her parents officially unite. Our source couldn't confirm the location, but suggested it would be somewhere meaningful to them. Perhaps the beautiful outdoor setting or an elegant venue that reflects both of their personalities. Tiffany, ever the fashionista, will undoubtedly choose a stunning gown, perhaps something that subtly incorporates her new motherhood glow. And Tim? We can expect him to be impeccably dressed, a picture of a doting groom, finally at peace. This wedding won't just be about Tim and Tiffany. It will be about the entire blended family coming together. It will be a testament to resilience, to forgiveness, and to the enduring power of love to overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. More update. Rumors surrounding 90 Day Fiancé stars Tiffany Franco and Tim Malcolm have taken a dramatic turn after the two were reportedly spotted getting cozy together at a club. The sighting immediately sparked speculation. Did Tiffany and Tim actually end up together? Adding to the buzz, Tim was said to have finally taken the leap and asked a woman out on a date, raising the question of who his first romantic interest might be. Meanwhile, whispers about Tiffany and Tim confirming their relationship have only intensified, leaving fans both shocked and intrigued. On top of this, reports claim Tiffany may have faked a romance for television, further fueling speculation. To complicate matters, Ronald, Tiffany's ex, has allegedly dropped a major bombshell, stirring even more drama into the already tangled storyline. I will explain everything. 90 Day Fiancé. Tiffany and Tim seen getting cozy with each other in a club. Did they end up together? Lots is occurring in the 90 Day Fiancé brand now that the new Hunt for Love spin-off is at the center. For the first time, viewers are witnessing members of the group in a more isolated retreat-like environment. Already in the pilot, they set the bar high for the most extreme season to date. The ensemble is meeting a lot of new people and forming relationships, but some of them are struggling. Tiffany Franco and Tim Malcolm are part of this group. They became fast friends and formed a strong bond early on in the show. The show's trajectory suggests, nevertheless, that their attempts to forge relationships are failing miserably. Is it possible that this is a precursor to them starting to pursue each other? The couple was caught by fans in a bar, cuddling up. Do you think they're dating now? Am I missing something? From 90 Days with Tiffany even on Hunt for Love, Fiance hasn't found love too often. Many men lose interest after hearing that she has 2 children. They want someone childless, many of them confess. That's been a big roadblock for her when it comes to making friends. Tim Malcolm, her dear buddy, is going through something similar as well. However, distinct causes are at work here. Jennifer Tarazona, Tim's ex-girlfriend, fabricated stories about him having an affair with a stripper and cast doubt on his S. He has found it challenging to form relationships with new people due to these stories. He has frequently voiced his dissatisfaction with having to defend his S for the past 7 years. Despite everything going on around them, Tim and Tiffany still managed to find solace in one another's presence. May it be that they've chosen to transform their friendship into a romantic relationship. Tim and Tiffany, stars of the upcoming 90 Day Fiancé Hunt for Love, were spotted at a lively club not long ago. The two became close, and fans saw that they laughed together late into the night. Word spread fast about the sighting that they might be starting a new romance. The footage was published by Tim on his Instagram account. Many have seen it as a sign that the two are romantically together. Above, we noted that Tim and Tiffany have struggled to find love on the show. Tim is still coping with rumblings from ex-Jennifer Tarazona, and the latter has had a series of unsuccessful hookups. Some controversy ensued on the internet when she earlier implied he might be gay. Fans started to question if there was more going on when they saw Tim and Tiffany together. On television, their chemistry has always been charming and electric. A small group of people thought the sighting of the club proved they had finally moved on. The reality, though, is that they're simply really close pals. So their relationship is completely platonic, and they are quite supportive of one another. Friendly rather than passionate feelings pervaded the cozy moment. They were accompanied by Elise, another cast member from the program. Everyone was hanging out. Tim Malcolm finally asks a girl out. Who is his first date? It seems like Tim Malcolm has finally done something substantial to find his soulmate. On the show, he recently asked a female out, and his new flame has fans in a state of disbelief. It seems like the 90 Day Fiancé star has thrown caution to the wind and tried his luck with an unexpected superstar. At the resort, Tim's ex-girlfriend Jen created stories about him, which caused him a lot of mental distress. She'd asserted that he did not identify as straight. As a result, Tim needed time to shake off the stress. He gave several of his female performers a shot. Rumors began circulating that the reality TV star was dating Tiffany Franco. The audience was taken aback when Tim revealed his new romantic interest during the show. Surely she is Tiffany. What is her name? The 90-Day Fiancé cast has long included Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Tarazona. For several seasons and spin-offs, he was featured in the former as he traveled with Veronica and Jennifer. For a long time, the TLC star was unattached. They became close friends on Hunt for Love, and Tim and Tiffany were there for each other through thick and thin. The second one was there for her co-star while he was coping with the suspicions. In order to protect her friend, she blasted Jen and put an end to the rumors. Because of their sincere and kind nature, fans genuinely wanted the couple to get together. When Tim and Tiffany posted an Instagram video from a nightclub, it started dating rumors. Some of their admirers began to question whether they had gone their separate ways. Since Elise was also there though, it was more of a cordial reunion than anything else. Tim Malcolm's charming and sincere character won him many fans on Hunt for Love. On the broadcast, he made several advances at ladies. The reality TV star didn't ask anyone out on a date, which is somewhat surprising. Tim finally took the plunge and asked someone out on a date not long ago. After observing May's untamed side with Joe, he brought her up in a confessional. While working with Joe, he witnessed her energetically jumping up and down. He questioned whether she was anything of a freak, but her untamed side impressed the 90-Day Fiancé star. "Someone should ask me out on a date," Tim said. "To be honest, I'm not sure I could handle her untamed side." After working up the nerve, he decided to knock on her hotel room door and see what happened. The reality TV personality asked her out on a date after telling her they had many interests. Malcolm had already been rejected by me. In spite of this, she accepted the offer because she admired his bravery. He gives off that sort of eccentric feel, which is something she really enjoys in a man. "Hey, why don't we give it a shot?" I thought. Because he hadn't asked a lady out in 10 years. Tim said he was feeling overwhelmed by the entire situation. His followers were grateful that he followed the instructions and gave it a shot. They were impressed by May's self-assured demeanor. Many viewers were anticipating a romantic scene involving the two and their electric chemistry. If you want to know more about Tim and May's romance, Tiffany and Tim confirmed their relationship. Fans of 90-Day Fiancé will recognize Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco. The second one had a troubled romance with Ronald that went on for a long time and ended in divorce and sadness. Not only did Tim's relationship with Jennifer fail, but their history was fraught with complications. Even though his relationship with Louisa was publicized on The Single Life, it was a disaster, and the two eventually broke up. With the hope of a fresh start, the two celebrities, Tiffany and Tim, entered Hunt for Love. They've both had bad love luck, but they never gave up. That's why their inclusion on the spin-off was much anticipated by fans. But is it possible that this relationship is really the blossoming of a romance? These days, everyone seems to be wondering if they are secretly dating. Is it true that they are dating? With the hope of a fresh start, the two celebrities, Tiffany and Tim, entered Hunt for Love. They've both had bad love luck, but they never gave up. That's why their inclusion on the spin-off was much anticipated by fans. But is it possible that this relationship is really the blossoming of a romance? These days, everyone seems to be wondering if they are secretly dating. Is it true that they are dating? Above, we stated that there are rumors circulating that Tim and Tiffany have feelings for each other. More relationship rumors have been circulating about them as of late, thanks to a Reddit member. One of the fans' posts expressed their secret wish that Tim and Tiffany were dating. They spoke highly of the actors and promised Tiffany and her children that Tim would be a good father. A lot of people were interested in the charming post. Their many admirers thought they'd form a lovely couple, but some thought it was too sentimental. It seems more like a friendship, according to another Reddit user. According to what they said, Tim and Tiffany would spend every night in that room. Yet nothing but face masks, video games, and television. That is why it was unromantic. Tim is mostly a buddy, not a romantic interest. As another person put it plainly, their connection is genuine, yet it lacks romance. It seems like a lot of folks think they're just pals and nothing more. So even though their followers are rooting for them to ship, it will never happen. Tiffany and Tim have both stated that they are only friends. They are not involved in any romantic drama. If Tim and Tiffany didn't wind up with each other, who would they end up with? Tiffany Franco fakes romance for TV. Ronald drops bombshell. It's possible that Tiffany Franco, star of 90 Day Fiancé, was teasing TLC viewers during her appearance on Hunt for Love. This week, her ex-husband Ronald Smith gave an extensive interview in which he revealed some personal details about his daughter's mother, leading to the speculation. To learn the details, keep reading. After Tiffany left for South Africa, Ronald, who had already married her, had a lengthy interview with Kiki and Kibitz, posted to YouTube on August 10. He brought up the topic of Carly Rose's custody. He has asserted that he has been unfairly denied the chance to visit his daughter. Daniel, Tiffany's son, was surprisingly absent from his conversation. Recall that Daniel looked up to Ronald and called him daddy when they were younger. But he continued by talking about Tiffany and the men she had dated. It would appear that TLC viewers are able to dismiss the notion that she is romantically linked with Tim Malcolm. No, Tiffany is not seeing Ronald, says Ronald. Rumor has it that she's been seeing another man for quite some time. Many were skeptical that Tiffany Franco would be a good fit for the new spin-off. Recall that she sought a connection with a paternal figure. Hence, it seems unlikely that she would discover the ideal partner on the romance-themed spin-off. Nonetheless, she and Tim appeared to get along famously, and speculation about their relationship blossomed. Ronald said that was not the case. Despite his denials to Kibitz and Kiki, he accused her of being involved with the new show for financial gain. Ronald claims that Tiffany is in a committed relationship. So, was her pretense of being single an attempt at trolling TLC viewers? I mean, that's her baby presumably. No more today. What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.